Born in Alexandria, Egypt, and I live there. I based there, and this is my favorite city in the world. Well, what I miss for real is sunset and sunrise on the sea, and you just sit there and you think, pray. I live here my whole life, and I love it. I see a lot of problems that face the youth in the United States is basically similar or close to the what it faces the youth in Egypt as self-esteem, dreams, and inner healing problems and stuff like that, self-confidence, security issues. So I have an experience of talking about this because I faced that myself. So when I talk to the people about that, they really relate and they start to feel, well, he's our age or close to our age, and he must be experienced that before. I felt and I see that the United States and Europe needs a lot of people to push them because these countries were on fire while we were in darkness in the gospel. But right now we are really in fire and gospel, and these countries unfortunately in darkness. God never give you something and he's not planning to use it. So if he gave you ability to music, well, he's not just giving you that because, well, this is your turn to have something. Actually gives you that to use it and somehow. So the beautiful thing about Jesus is that he will never let you use something you don't like. All the successful missionaries, successful people who did something for real in this era of time, they always do something they love and they passionate about. So first find your talent, find what God put inside you and you really can do literally without stopping, and you will never get bored. When you can do that and you know this thing, this is the first step. Second, humble yourself to learn and to listen, not just for God, for people. Like humble yourself as much as you can so you can learn a lot. You can absorb so you can give. If you empty, you will never be able to give something. But if you absorb, you will give a lot. And being a full-time missionary is a hard decision. Think about it many times, but make sure that you're not taking it out of emotions, out of just enthusiasm and everything. Just think about it very good, and know that when once you step in this place, you know the challenges, but you know that God is with you and God got your back. Everyone can serve God in his place, in his spot. In your school, in your college, in your work, you can serve God. You can always be a gospel that people can read. And but going for a full-time missionary requires all of what I said and creativity. Come with creativity because the time of full-time missionaries who just go and say Jesus loves you, well, this time is done because actually people don't listen to these things this way. You want to influence people, use what you have from talents, from creativity, from technology. Use whatever you can use to influence people in a modern, accepted, and professional way. Well, the first time I was about to come to the United States in Cairo, there was a curfew back then, and I have to travel from Alexandria to Cairo, and to catch my flight just after the curfew ends. So I missed my flight. So I went there in the airport and I realized that, well, I missed my flight and it's done. I don't have any money to pay for another flight. So that was the first challenge. And then I went to the guy from the office of the airline. He said, well, there is another available flight. We'll put you in because we know that through curfew. I was like, that's for free? I was like, yeah. She was like, thank you. But you have to stay for 12 hours. I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. So I stayed for 12 hours in the airport. And I was like, wow, God, why you just won't put me in this? Like, why you just make me feel like going to do some mission work is really harder than it's already hard. Like, why you make it harder for me? But then I realized that I met this Egyptian guy who is like American citizen at the same time. He lives there. And he was visiting his family. And we were talking together, and he's supposed to be Christian, but he don't have a really relationship with God. And we were talking probably all these 12 hours we became friends, and I gave him one of my CDs, and I prayed for him and with him in the airplane, and we met again in the airport, in the transit, and we were talking. We ate lunch together. So and later on, he sent me on my Facebook. He said, "Well, I accepted Jesus after we talk, and I have your CD. And like I always play it, and I was always want you to put me in your prayers." So yeah, I was really happy with that. And when you put the pieces together, you find out like, wow, that was God work, and that was God's hand. So yeah. God gave you something called the gospel. God gave you something called life, and you just keep it for yourself. You hugging it, nobody gonna touch that, and you don't want to share it with the world. Imagine if someone have discovered the cure for cancer, but he kept it all to himself. I was really I would be angry in this guy, and it's not his discovery to keep. It's a discovery to share. So if you sit in there and you're just not doing anything, you're actually stealing from God, because your time, your money, your health is belongs to him. He gave it to you every day. And if he's not wanting to use you, or he thinks that you're already done this life while you're breathing right now, you should be already dead, and everybody should crying about you. But if you're still breathing, doesn't God have something to do for you? And if that God have something to do for you, you have to get up and do it. And take a moment to think about it, and but don't take so much to think and not doing anything. You have to do something. You don't say I'm young, don't say I don't know, I can't. Stop saying negative stuff and just ask God. Just put people in my way, and I promise you I'll do my part. But just you just let them open it. And honestly, this is what happens all the time. God make me see people stumble, people on the road all the time. Why? Because I asked him, and he's faithful to do that. But I have to be faithful to do my part too. Don't stay and don't think that someone else will do your work. And God put you here for a reason. And just know that in Judgment Day you'll be asked about your time, which is your life, what you did with it. And don't take your treasure and bury it in the earth, and don't do anything else. God will be really, you're actually stealing God. So keep this in mind, and I'm sure you get up and do something right now.